Welcome to The Funnel. My name is John Shea, and I'm president of Alignment Group. This is episode number 279 of The Funnel. The biggest reason sales managers fail to hit their targets. Before we begin, I want to urge you, or slightly nudge you, to head on over to alignment-group.com/The Funnel. Subscribe and receive a coupon code for our online sales training class. Our agenda today, lack of understanding, how to lose your job and how to keep your job. So let's talk about lack of understanding. I think with sales managers, they come into a job or a role, and I'm not going to get into the old story of how they got their job and preparedness and training and development. This is really about once they're there, how do they achieve their targets? So let's talk a little bit about what those targets look like. They're generally some form of quota, right? Revenue and profit that is given to each of the reps and then to the manager and so on and so forth. So their life is dependent upon hitting their target, right? Not only from a compensation perspective, from a job perspective. So they're looking at quotas and they're saying to themselves, how do we hit this number? And I can tell you that it's pretty clear that they don't understand how to get to the number, because year in and year out, the vast majority of sales teams don't, or sales reps don't hit. I wouldn't say the majority. Let me back that up. Year in and year out, there are reps that don't hit their target numbers, right? So a lot of managers are living on the wealth of the top 2 or 3 reps, right? There's 2 or 3 reps that are performing at a high level, and they're carrying the ones that don't make quota. And I think I might have mentioned a couple podcasts ago about a friend of mine who is the top rep in their office and top probably 5 ranked nationally. And his boss came to him at the end of the year and asked him to sell more because he needed to hit his target. My friend called me and said, what do you think of that? And I said, look, I without even asking you, I can tell you that there are people underperforming under him, correct? Yes. There's some that are kind of in the middle, and there's some really poor performers, right? He's like, yeah. And the poor performers have been around way longer than they should be. Am I correct on that? Yes. He's asking you to carry the load, and it's unacceptable behavior from a manager. He has a problem on his hand that he's not solving. Quotas keep going up, but reps that are attaining them are going up, that aren't attaining quota are going up as well. That gap in performance from the middle and the bottom to the top is huge, right? It's huge. And that's why sales managers are failing. They're depending on the 1 or 2 to carry the load. They're not really paying attention to the performance gap and managing that. And if one of those top reps has an average year, maybe they just hit their quota, it affects the whole team. You're losing deals left and right because the middle and the bottom aren't performing, or it takes more in the pipeline to get to a close, or they're doing lower revenue, lower profit deals. Put the pen to paper, you can see that. And that's what's killing you. So the answer from a manager is always to run faster, right? Just sell more to somebody at the higher level. If you just sell 1 or 2 more deals, we'll get our number. And that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Okay? So that takes us to how to lose your job. So obviously missed targets are a part of that. So sales, it's interesting. Sales managers and VPs of sales are basically, they're looked at and they're managed to whatever number they're expected to hit. And I've seen this in a lot of cases. Above them, the folks above them, the executive team above them, never really look at the details of that. So if a manager is hitting their target with 2 reps just outperforming everybody else significantly, let's say there's 10 reps, 2 reps outperforming, they've got 5 that are kind of middle of the pack and 3 that are just pathetic, way underperforming. And they hit their number, they're happy with that. What they don't realize is they're running into a head-on collision. It could last years. I'm not saying it won't, but that's you're playing with fire with that. Then your top reps decide they want to leave, or they decide they want to hold you hostage, because anyone in that position would recognize they have leverage, and that's a problem. So how to lose your job? Well, if you miss the target, you have that bad year or two. Okay? Majority of sales reps out there don't hit their target. So then what does a manager do? They do one of a couple of things, or they do a combination of these things. One, like I said, they ask the top reps to try to sell more. Big problem for a number of reasons. They're already outperforming everybody else at a significant rate. That doesn't mean they shouldn't have development and growth and all that good stuff, but you're basically asking them face-to-face, one-on-one to carry the load for you and the rest of the team. And they might get tired of that and go look for a job. Now, my friend's not going to look for a job. He's been there forever. And here's the thing about him. It's not that he's been there forever that's keeping him. It's that he sells more every year. He finds a way to get more business. And I guarantee you next year is going to be even better. So why should he? He's got a nice situation. So what did he tell his boss? Go pound sand. It's not my job to do your job. So then what does the manager do? Well, they focus on the poor performers. They go to the bottom of the barrel and they take those 2 or 3 reps, and if I could just get them to sell more, we'd be okay. Wrong. Most of the folks at the bottom, unless you've made a bad hiring decision, right? You've made a poor decision there. You need to move on. If they're that low and they're not performing, why waste your time with them? That's just pathetic. Go away. What you need to focus on is the middle, right? So we'll talk about that. But most managers don't think like that. They see the missed targets. They go to the top reps. They try to get more out of them. Or they spend their time solving the poor performers' problems, closing deals, running around the field, trying to just get the number up so they can hit their target. And then that creates a real problem, a bigger problem. All of a sudden, the middle performers aren't getting any attention. The low performers aren't going to get to where they need to go. So you've got a turnover problem. And that's going to create more issues in hitting the target. That's how you lose your job. The most dangerous job in sales is the sales management role. I've had people turn down positions to be managers because they know that. So the tenure for managers is shrinking because they're getting fired. You have to shift the narrative. You have to move it to a different spot. Don't spend your time on the poor performers, and don't ask your person that's doing 150% of their quota to achieve some more because you're missing your target. It's bad management. So how do you keep your job? You move your focus. Get rid of the low performers. They're a drain on you. Fire them. I mean, follow the rules. Don't just walk in and fire people and get your company sued and then come back to me. Follow the rules, but move on. Decide what success looks like. Think about it this way. Do the math. I said put pen to paper, do the math. Do the math on what's working with your high performance. Like if I was that guy's manager at my friend's company, I would use him as the model. And I wouldn't walk around and say, be more like him. Do what he does. I wouldn't say that. I would detail exactly what he's doing daily, weekly, monthly. I know what he's doing because he's given me a lot of feedback on what he's doing. First of all, it's a huge passion for the business. But second of all, it's really developing strong relationships and building those relationships with clients. Knowing where the serious profit centers are with your company and focusing on driving those profit centers. That's what he does. There's certain products within his ability to sell. It's a big product line that he knows are high margin products. And he's got a couple of quotas, and one is for that. He exceeds that every year because that's where the money is. And he does it in a way that creates a Loctite relationship with the customers where they'll go nowhere else but to him because he's a complete expert on the products and how they will perform. And he's also an expert on the competitors and how they underperform against his product. So what you do is you decide what the success, what is this person doing daily, weekly, monthly to be successful? Maybe you have 2 or 3 of them. Look at what the model is showing you. The model's showing you that they're selling higher revenue, higher margin deals. Okay, how are they doing that? These are the companies they're going after. This is the way they contact. This is how they manage their day. And then you look at the middle of the pack and see how they're managing their day, seeing what they're doing. Wow, they have lower revenue deals, lower margin deals. And they need more deals in the funnel to push more out on the other end. So if they have a lot of deals in the funnel, there's a bunch dropping off. So what if I take that middle of the pack and I move them and I say, okay, I need them to sell higher profit, higher margin deals, and I need to work with them on shifting how they manage their day. We create the model, and then I coach and develop and train them. No, don't ask your top rep to do that. It's not their job. And you don't have to get into, we're going to do it like he does it or we're going to do it like she does it. No, you develop what it's going to look like and you just implement. You don't have to compare your it's like comparing your kids. You don't want to do that. Okay, they're different. They're uniquely different. But you can create a model for success and move the needle. So what does that do? Well, think about it. Think about if you do the math, put the pen in the paper, do the math. What is it going to take for me to hit my target if I just take the middle performers and I get blank out of them? Is it 10% more? Is it 5% more? Is it this in revenue? Is it this in profit? So you've laid out what success looks like and you move the middle. Get rid of the bottom. You either have a hiring problem, which is your issue because you don't know how to hire with the bottom. You've made a mistake. People make mistakes. But they're the last people you want to spend your time on. Yeah, it's a great success story. They were the worst rep and I turned them into something. Oh, yeah. Well, it doesn't happen very often. So move on. Okay? Usually the middle of the pack, those people that are performing between 80 and 100%, one year they're 85% of their target, then the next year they're 105. They do enough to stick around. They sell enough to stick around, but they work really hard, but you can't figure out why they're not succeeding and they can't figure it out. Those are the people you work with. And you move them forward. If you can get them to where you need them to be, now you're in great shape. Why? Because your top performers will continue to perform at a high level. Your middle performers will be your backup, will help you get over the number, and they'll be your backup. So if the top performers have a slow year once in a while, or it's just gotten so bad that even though they perform at a high level, you still can't hit your target, you're going to be well over your target with the middle. And then you just churn the bottom. There's a lot of companies that do that. Bottom performers, somebody's coming in at X percentage, they need to move on. Then you create a culture of success. Sure, you should look at how you hire people, who you hire. I get that, and that's part of it. But I'm talking right now how to keep your job, because management tenure is going down. They're not staying as long. There's huge expectations on them, and they focus on the wrong stuff. This is where you need to move yourself as a manager, or move your manager. Sit with your manager and say, tell me what you're doing to drive this number. And if they start feeding you back the things that are killing their job, you need to change how they do it. You need to coach them to do that better. No, focusing on the low end is not going to help you. Here's what you need to do. and then walk them through what I just walked you through. You can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/alignment group. At Shay John R is my Twitter, and of course LinkedIn. Feel free to connect with me. You can always email me if you have any questions on this topic or any other topic. jshay@alignment-group.com. As I've always said, and I'll continue to say, is I will respond to your emails. Might take me a day or two, but I will get back to you. Thank you for subscribing, and as always, keep filling the funnel.